All right, we're live. Hopefully everything's working. All the video and audio issues several of us were having. I was having video problems, which is unusual. Not sure why my camera died about 30 seconds before. Alistair, you were having some audio issues. And Hinky is trying to change his username.
I'm all right now, but that was my fault. That was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually I can't remember how you change a username on a Zoom.
No, I managed to change the username now. The problem is it's building it up, and I don't have that much experience with the Linux picture editors to easily make a text on background thing.
Okay. All right, well, we're a few minutes late. But...
Curious question. Are you using the Virtual Tools audio config of mine for this, or are you using your normal setup?
Yeah, did anybody check out Hinky's Pulse Audio configs? I didn't get a chance.
Officially, I'm announcing it today, so most people do not know, but some people have their hands on it.
Silent for a sec, please.
Mm-hmm.
So, Present Arms, if you are using my config, double check that Zoom is using the virtual in microphone rather than your normal one.
Hey, DistroTube.
Well, what do you want me to do?
I'm hearing everything double.
You're hearing everything double.
Mute YouTube stream, Big Pond, if you're on YouTube as well. Mute the YouTube stream.
Yeah. Make sure you have earphones, earbuds, and otherwise you'll get that weird reverb.
Try to get a USB headset like this one here.
Hello.
Or you can just buy these $8 earbuds from Walmart.
Alright, here comes the second challenge for Zoom.
Ricky, how much did that headset cost you?
Give me just a minute and I'll go on eBay and look at the receipt, okay?
Okay.
Because everything I buy, I keep a track of.
You're gonna write it off as a business expense.
Oh, by the way, I'm on a new distro.
Oh yeah? What are you running?
I got rid of Ubuntu last night on my main machine, which I'm using right now, and I am now officially using Manjaro Budgie.
Oh, cool.
Manjaro Budgie is actually working very well.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Solus a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Ubuntu Budgie coming out in a couple of weeks. 18.10 should be nice.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I got my headset for $19.95.
Okay, that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right. Well, it looks like everybody's got all their problems straightened out now.
Except me, because I can't figure out how to set the avatar on this now.
You know, I've never tried that.
Because I want the GitLab URL for what I'm about to talk about to be my profile picture.
Right.
Because it loves to make it too large, and then it doesn't fit the actual thing in there. So if I know how to overwrite that with my own picture, that would be nice.
Yeah,
I know Silent Robot did it before, but I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, Robot, he always has his little robot picture up, and a pizza-loving nerd always has that pizza picture.
Yes, there must be a way of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think.
Let me have a look. Look at the video settings. Recording the transcript.
Yeah, I still haven't played around with Zoom enough to know all the little intricate details.
I'm just saying if it's actually grabbing a picture from the profile, your Zoom profile, because I haven't uploaded the picture or anything. So if I
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it should be the profile picture.
So you need to sign up for an account at Zoom?
Like you do on YouTube, you upload your profile picture and that becomes your avatar.
That's not at all what I need for this stream.
If you go to settings on Zoom and edit my profile, it opens up a web page. Yeah.
I was still figuring out how to do the trick I do on Windows, where OBS is my webcam. That would solve it, but the way to do that on Linux I found, but it seems to require compiling a different kernel component and loading that in manually, so I didn't have the time to do all that yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. And I can't really play around with my Zoom.
I just see, yeah, I saw that on Big Daddy Linux last night. That Spall Tree had OBS running inside Zoom, and I'm going, how did he do that?
Oh yeah, he had his green screen
and all that kind of business at the time. Yeah.
If there's one thing I like about Budgie, it's the Raven menu. I can easily change my microphone anytime I want this menu. I like this feature.
He has a pretty good Pulse audio panel right at the taskbar as well.
Yeah, that Ubuntu Budgie 18.10 beta was solid for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I might actually put that on physical hardware, so I'll put it on one of my machines, because I like it every time I review it. Every time I've taken a look at Ubuntu Budgie, it's been great.
Nice, there's a dark theme, not bad.
And I like the Budgie desktop, so I'm not sure how much development Solus is going to get going forward, so I'll try to give Ubuntu Budgie as much love as I can. We need to keep Budgie going.
I'm hoping actually Solus does sort itself out in a way. Could be a shame to see that go.
Yeah. Because I really like where the Budgie desktop is going. It's really GNOME kind of done right. It's what GNOME 3 should have been anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Still got some stuff to it. It's a little immature as far as I don't like how it handles multi-monitors. That's my big gripe why I don't run it on my main production machine. So.
Doesn't GNOME and Budgie have a lot of similarities?
Yeah, they do. It's not really a fork of GNOME 3, but they are. Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Looks like Christopher has joined us.
I sent a message to Ben. Hopefully he'll pop in here.
Okay. Yeah, where is Ben this morning? It's not like him not to be around.
Okay, cool.
He's either still asleep
or he's...
Yeah.
Okay. I need to make sure. Okay, sudo Pacman.
And we'll probably do this particular stream this morning. I've got to leave. I've got to be out the door by 12, so we'll go for about 2 hours. Yeah, I've got to get to work actually right after this. So
kind of funny. It's 6 in the evening here, so it means evening.
Which, I mean, that's the normal kind of cutoff time I do for these anyway. I usually, right at 12 noon, I kill these streams so I can go watch football most Sundays, but I actually have to get to work this Sunday. So it's not a big deal because my team's not playing today anyway. They play tomorrow night, so.
Okay.
And some of you, I've no doubt, have noticed the title of this stream. I mentioned that today marks the channel turning 1 year old. I started this channel 365 days ago. So that's been 1 calendar year. Yes, we got 1 year in the books. So
that's really good.
Yeah, and this stream, once it is published after we kill the stream, this will be the 331st video.
Nice.
In 1 year.
Congrats.
Wow. Yeah. And Pizza Loving Nerd is giving the Seattle Seahawks some love in the chat. Yeah, good luck with that this year. Doesn't look like that's going to work out for you. And somebody is asking, what do you mean by a solid desktop? I think he's probably referring to us talking about Solus. Although there is a Linux distribution called Solid. Some people call it Solid. But I don't think anybody in the chat here was talking about that particular distribution.
Yeah, there's so many Linux distros that any common name is going to have a Linux distro named after it.
Oh, yeah. It's always, I was actually reading some Linux news articles this morning, and one of the articles was about how the biggest problem with Linux still is fragmentation and that there's too many distros. And I still don't understand how people don't realize that that is not a weakness. That is really our biggest strength. We are not trying to be, Windows or Mac OS, the fact that we are free and open and everybody is free to take the software, fork it, do your own thing. That's the point, If we have a million Linux distros, it doesn't matter, that's kind of the point. So
how can choice be bad?
Yeah.
Here I understand your argument, but here I have to say that I think you're wrong.
You think there's too many?
Yes, because for normal people who don't even understand computers, like secretaries, like old people, if you have one option, like one thing, they're gonna choose that. Because and that if that option is good, okay. But if you have 1,000 options, they get lost right from the start. So they will rather go to something that is easy to choose, easy to use, like Windows or Mac.
Sorry about me.
Wouldn't all those people default to something like Ubuntu anyway, because that's the most popular one?
Yeah. Almost all new Linux users at some point. I mean, that's usually one of the first things they check out is Ubuntu. When you Google Linux, that's usually like what's going to come up for you is all the Ubuntu properties, Ubuntu.com and Ask Ubuntu and.
Ooh.
Well, I never decided to Hoover just as a my live stream. That's great.
Super thanks for the super chat, Red Robbo in the chat. The super chat. Happy birthday, DistroTube. Appreciate that.
Happy birthday, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, isn't this nice of Manjaro? It actually gave me Steam.
Yeah. Steam's in the repo on Manjaro,
Yeah, it actually came pre-installed.
And also that edition of Manjaro you installed, the Budgie edition, that's one of the community editions. So, whoever's putting that together. Yeah.
The fact that it installs Steam is cool, but does it actually run? Because every time I tried that with that Manjaro release on my system, the answer was no. It gave me OpenGL errors out of the box.
I'm actually trying out Manjaro i3 this morning for the first time. So
I run Manjaro and I've got Steam on it. I know Steam works on Manjaro. Now on these community editions, it's not like Steam is installed. They usually just have the Steam installer already on the ISO for you. Yeah. You actually have to go through the installation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I don't know about the OpenGL errors you're getting, Hinky, with Manjaro. Works on my system. So.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple of different Manjaro installs on my machine. So.
Going back to the too many distro issues, I think the issue is that it's not that there's a multiplicity of distros that have different roles. It's that for any given type of role, I think there are just too many contenders for what for that kind of distro.
Oh, I'd absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
There is duplication of effort. How many Debian-based distros do we need that use the XFCE desktop environment?
Right.
I could probably name a dozen right now. How many of them are actually doing anything different from the next guy? Couldn't they all just get together and work on the same project?
Yeah, the only one that seems to be doing anything different is MX on XFCE. The rest seem to be a clone of each other.
Yeah.
And then NixOS, you mean?
MX, yeah.
Yeah, MX.
Okay.
MX, yeah.
MX?
Yep. They're solid. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have that the other day. My mom, her laptop was giving her some issues. She wanted something different on it, and I installed MX on it, and it just works. Everything, Wi-Fi, everything just worked. Once I, enabled all the. Yeah, so. But yeah, as far as too many distros, yeah, I mean, again, the fact that we're free to take anything, fork it, create our own thing, that's great. But I do think some people, I mean, if you're just doing it as a project, just to do something, that's fine. But some of these people, I think they're creating something unique, and they're not really creating anything unique. There are so many Debian-based distros and so many Arch-based distros. Some of them really need to start getting together. We don't need. I must have. I mean, if I look through my list of videos that I've made in this past year, I must have reviewed 40 or 50 Arch-based distros. Why? Why does half that stuff exist? Some of them are exactly the same.
Because you want to tell people you're not just using Arch, bro. You're using special kind of Arch.
Right.
Well, as of last night, on this little 60 gigabyte drive here, I got an Arch installation on here that's running XFC, and it works wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, I just installed Steam here on Manjaro i3, and it's working fine.
Yep. Matter of fact, that's the edition I'm using right now. It's the i3 edition, is what I installed on my main machine originally. Then I put Qtile and Xmonad on that. But yeah, Steam just works on it. Before that, earlier in the year, I did Manjaro KDE, and I had Steam working fine in it too. So.
Yeah, believe it or not, I have a Haiku beta on this. Haiku.
Oh,
and that runs really
beta.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haiku. I thought I'd have a play with that.
Yeah,
and the strange thing about Haiku, and if you ever want to try that, if you can, is if you've got a laptop there with the 1366768 resolution, if you go into the screen settings, you can extend it to 1920 by 1080, and it will go. You can't see half the fonts because they're cut off, because obviously you haven't got the pixels on the actual monitor itself on the screen. But it does miniaturize into that format. It's quite cool. I've never seen that before on anything.
Yeah, I might take a look at Haiku again soon. I haven't taken a look at it on the channel, but I've checked out Haiku over the years. That's been under development for like 17, 18 years.
Isn't Haiku one of the oldest Linux distros out there?
No.
It's not Linux.
It's a fork
it ain't
of
Linux.
BEOS. It's a fork of BEOS 5, I believe, back in the day, which you can still download, strangely enough, the demo version of BEOS.
Yeah, it's supposed to be completely 100% compatible with BEOS is the point of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Slackware?
Yeah, Slackware is the oldest Linux distribution that's still running.
Yeah, Slackware is the oldest.
Oh.
Slackware and Debian.
Wait, can y'all hear me, right?
Yep. We got you,
Yeah.
There you loud.
All right. I got this partially working. Let's go.
I did notice that they don't
have... I got the audio working, but everyone's all like a weird gradient.
They don't have the 410 NVIDIA drivers yet in the Manjaro repos, so I installed that from NVIDIA's website.
Yeah. Now, Manjaro does hold packages back compared to mainline Arch. They typically hold things back about 2 weeks, and they do that, they say, for stability reasons, which is fine, because you have things break in Arch, they get a heads up on it. They know everything's broken. So.
They use the LTS kernel by default too.
Yeah. But probably do the same as me. I have the main repo and a testing repo where people test things for a couple of weeks before it goes to the main repo. Iron out any bugs. It's not foolproof, but it's better than anything.
It's not foolproof in Manjaro either. I mean, they hold packages back, but like, that major Python upgrade about a month ago that broke everything in Arch. Well, even with Manjaro holding things back for 2 weeks, eventually they had to push that Python upgrade up, and it still broke everything in Manjaro, all your Python apps. So just holding it back 2 weeks really doesn't stop, the breakage.
True.
It just postpones
that's how it is.
But
everyone.
But DT, does it delete all your files? Is that the big?
No, this is not Windows. No, this is.
On that, I have a bit of a thing.
Pac-Man SYU. It's like, we're gonna delete everything. Are you okay with this? And just automatically goes through with it.
Well, I mean, you can delete some wrong stuff using Pac-Man if you don't know the correct flags to give it. I mean, if you start removing things with their dependencies, I mean, there's some advanced commands that you could wreck your system with Pac-Man. Not SYU. That's safe, but.
Windows Update to 18.9 didn't delete anything on my system. That's like it is related something to a different thing. When you have, like, you can set home folder to be different. Here you can set all different documents, pictures, music folders to like a different drive or something. And some people have weird configurations with detachable drives, and those drives can get
we hear you.
Weird on updates, and if the driver isn't correctly loaded during update, it can delete.
Yeah, I actually haven't been following the Windows update story too closely.
As far as
I just have to say something real quick. As a power user, Windows power user, if you use the documents folder as a placeholder for all your work, you're an idiot.
Why?
That's just my
opinion.
Why?
Your opinion's right.
If you use documents folder to store everything you actually care about, as if your code or something like that, you're an idiot. For me, at least.
Explain why.
Oh, I heard
Explain
about the story where the guy had like
exactly because
there.
It's a kind of quote system folder that Windows uses, and there's always a possibility for Windows to fuck something up.
That's why people should learn to have backups. That's
it's
called Google Drive for a reason.
Yeah, but you can't always rely on that people will have backups or something. Yeah. You have to predict that people are stupid and will do stupid stuff, even when you have an OS that does stupid stuff.
Actually, that, as far as I know, that wasn't because directly because of Windows Update, but because they had different folders set as documents folder, and because of some driver relationship with Windows Update, it can get worked up. It's a thing that can happen to anything.
It's still bullcrap though.
And actually, I have a friend who updated and lost files, and it wasn't in documents folder. It's because something on the drive happened.
Yeah. There's no excuse for the update deleting people's files, but yeah, you should have backups.
If you have a separate drive for the /home, it could delete files if an error came up.
Yeah.
I bet that.
Rex in the chat says you should probably just have your data on a different drive, like like drive D. Yeah.
An external hard drive would help that.
Actually, most of them had that the data on separate drive. Except the problem was that they had the folder that is documents folder. They had a location of the folder changed to the secondary drive. And that was actually the problem.
Which is exactly what I'm saying, that the documents folder on Windows is pretty much they look at it as kind of system folder.
Actually, it isn't. As far as I'm aware, and I do a lot of stuff in Windows, especially now that I'm back in school, and it isn't a system folder.
Well, I said, in quote, system folder.
Okay, I will correct myself. It is a system folder if you have it set to default location, because it is directly connected to your user account. If you have it set up as a different location, it is just a normal directory.
Yeah, they look at it like a path variable, so you can change it actual path. You can point to another drive, and
if you, for instance, take an update, well, the one that just happened, it actually deletes the files, as you said, from that folder, even if it's on another drive, because the Windows is actually looking for that folder documents, and if it's on another drive, it's going to delete your files anyway. So that's why I said never use documents folder to do anything with it. Just stupid shit, because they used it like in Windows XP or something like that. They added the videos, the pictures, the documents folder, the whatever desktop. They did it in a way that it actually serves as a Windows folder in quotes. It's used by
just real quick, guys. I wanted to thank Pizza Loving Nerd in the chat for the super chat. He also was letting me know that the on-screen chat wasn't scrolling. It was frozen in OBS for some reason. I reloaded it. It's working now. Thanks for pointing that out, Pizza. All right.
Well, Microsoft fucked up. That sums it up, pretty much.
All right. Let's watch the language too.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. Google likes to demonetize my live streams anyway, so. The one from last week, I never got it monetized. I don't know why.
I think it's kind of ironic that.
How often have we mentioned terminal in that one? Referring to terminal illness according to algorithm?
Oh,
actually, I should not have said terminal illness now, because now they legitimately have a reason to demonetize you.
Well, that's not. I mean, even if it gets flagged by the algorithms, you know, I always request a manual review for these videos that get tripped up in the algorithm, and usually within a couple of hours, a day at the most, a human will review it and say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, and it'll get remonetized. Last week's stream, actually, I guess nobody's ever looked at it or.
Sometimes people don't actually look at it. It's just a robot looking over it like three times in a row.
Yeah, but that's the first video I've ever had demonetized, requested a review, and they didn't turn back on the ads. Well, actually, I'm looking at it right now. I guess they did turn it back on this morning. It took them a whole week. It took them 7 days.
Wicked. That's good news. I was going to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good news, but nobody else is going to watch that video. Everybody that was going to watch that video's already watched it. You know, they turn it back on after
the first few days. It's already done and over with.
Right. That's what used to really tick me off way back in the day when I first got monetized. Every video I made was demonetized, and it would take them, because back then, before all this adpocalypse stuff, and they made all the rules a little tougher to be monetized. You know, I guess they were overwhelmed with all this stuff. It took them a good 2-3 days sometimes to review your stuff and get it monetized again. After 3 days, everybody that was going to watch that video I made's already watched it. So it just killed ad revenue. So
everybody who's in the chat,
long tail.
Watching on YouTube right now, rewind, go back to last week, watch the video.
See, I think it's kind of ironic because Google's slogan used to be "Don't be evil."
Right.
Kind of being evil.
That's long gone.
Well, I think they
historically stuck to that motto.
Yeah.
They dropped that much a while ago, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Google's got a tough job here. I mean, they're trying to make money with, you know, this very large video network of theirs, but they have to be careful how they do it. I understand that. It's just, you know, really when they changed all the rules with all the adpocalypse, the various adpocalypse things that have happened, you know, it was just too drastic of a change.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me they lose a lot of money on just all the smaller videos, and they only make their money on the really big stuff.
Well, yeah, they don't really lose money on other videos because the other videos are still getting ad revenue in for Google. They don't pay out to anybody with less than 1,000 views or something. I can't remember what the deal is there. But yeah.
Well, he does make a point. It's like the biggest channels, like the top 5% or the top 10% of YouTube, really is like 95% of the views on YouTube. So, I mean, there's a lot of channels out there. There's just 2 or 3 videos, not much of anything as far as content, and a lot of that is just, I guess, wasted space. I guess you could call it.
I already remember that remark.
Yeah.
Hello,
EB.
How are we doing? All right? Can you hear me?
All right.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, fine.
Just like to say a massive congratulations to Derek, 1 year old. Looks more like 40 to me, but nevertheless, I'll go with the 1 year old. Oh, sorry, that's a child.
Yeah. No, actually, next month, 41.
Oh,
so.
Wow. Go you, Derek. Go you, mate. Oh,
yeah, we won't be celebrating that on the stream either. I won't mention that again. So.
Well, I hope we will.
We'll remember it, though.
Hope we'll have some nice dancing girls on for your edification.
That will definitely get demonetized.
Yeah, well, we can't get dancing girls on a Linux stream. He knows that.
Yeah, of course we can. I never say never, Derek, because you'd be so shocked what we can dig out for you. So, just so everybody knows, on Derek's 41st birthday live stream, if me and Zeb appear unshaven, dressed in skirts, then these ladies are Derek. Well, at least we got a cheeky giggle out of him.
Well,
if nothing else, it was worth it for that.
Some things that can't be unseen.
No. And that one will live forever, even after taking it down from YouTube. You know, so. Upload that to GitHub, GPL.
So how are you doing then, Derek and everybody? Are you all right? Having a great Sunday, I hope?
Yeah. Just another Sunday morning, sitting here chatting with these fine fellas and drinking my coffee. Got to get to work here in a little bit, so just relaxing.
I'm finally gonna stop distro hopping.
Yeah, that's what we all say. But
can I get an amen though?
Yeah. I stopped distro hopping about 2004, 2005.
Wow.
I do hop. I just don't like, I always have to do my distro.
Well, that's not entirely true. Present Arms, he's fibbing a little bit here. He hasn't hopped since 2006 because he has his own distro he develops, but he does have extra drives and extra machines. He does hop
Yes,
on.
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. I do. I
used Random Wheel, and it said Magia, and I was like, all right, cool. And I just found out they had a 6.1 release, so it took like 5 hours to download.
That would be like, I've got a machine in the closet that's still got Ubuntu 804 on it, And, well, I haven't hopped in 10 years.
That was a good release, actually.
Yeah, 804.
You can get to 1804 with that.
You know what? That would be interesting to try.
That would be funny.
Yeah. That would be fun to try. See if you could go through all the LTS upgrades from 804 and see if you could get to 1804 without breaking it. I don't think you could.
I'm going to make that a video. I'm making that a video.
Anyone actually tried to use Genome 3.3, the optimized one they released?
It's going to be like
Did anyone actually notice any performance gains in that version?
I haven't. You're talking about the latest 3.30?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
See, I've noticed some. If you use Debian, I've noticed some. Like on Debian Stretch, it was at about 800 megabytes, and then I upgraded it to testing, which has I think the 3.30. It might be 3.28, and that got it down to like 650.
Yeah. Thanks for the super chat, Dan.
I've noticed it uses less memory.
Yeah, I was thanking Dan for the super chat. Appreciate that. Happy anniversary. Alan Pope also says that's been done before, going from 804 to 1004 all the way to 1804. He says it's been done.
Damn it, I'm going to do it from 4.10 then.
Go all the way back. Huh?
All the way.
Go all the way back from the first Ubuntu.
Yeah, you should start it with the first LTS, yeah.
I'll start it from the beta.
Yeah, there's, I think, a video where some guy upgraded from Windows 1 all the way to Windows 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like a Linux version of that.
I'm sorry, everybody, and you're all sitting here worrying about distro hopping. Really? Really?
I don't
what are you on these days?
It's the least of my worries.
You really need to have to ask. I am on the premier Linux distro, which of course is LS9.
Well, see, I have to ask because sometimes you're not on Peppermint. I've seen you run Calculate. I've seen you run Windows. You do occasionally Okay.
Yeah. No, I refute that, Derek. You must be watching some other Two Bob YouTube.
No.
Firmly on Peppermint 9.
Yeah, remember, this isn't English Bob. This is Trucking on Linux. It must be a different YouTuber.
Yeah, you got it, Present. You've nailed it. No, I am on Peppermint 9 on my main machine. I was Manjaro XFCE, which was really cool. I enjoyed it. But Peppermint 9 is mine.
Ik zit even in een videochat.
So
ik ben even in de videochat bezig.
So that's on my main machine. On my secondary machine at the minute is Arco Linux, which I'm really enjoying the whole learning experience. So I'm going to stay on Peppermint 9 forever on my main machine because I want to get on and do a lot of other things on Linux rather than about Linux.
Have you tried trucking on Arco?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
how's it?
Fabulous. No problem at all. But it's no better or no worse than Peppermint.
That'd be more like the hardware rather than the OS.
So, for me, Peppermint is my favourite distro. It just is. It's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's better than any.
Where you feel at home.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just my baby.
Feel at home, Steve.
So
exactly
I took it all off, reinstalled Pep from the ground up. I've now got Steam. I've got Lortrus. I've got Wine. I've got Play on Linux. I've got Proton. And rather than focusing on Linux distros, what I want to try and do is help the little guy like me, the thick, utter noob, who actually is a bit sick and tired of Windows or Mac, fancies a bit of Linux, but of course Linux's Achilles heel is that it's a sweet shop distro. There's that many billions of distros, what the hell? And everybody you ask will give you a different opinion. So all I'm trying to do is saying, look,
Steve,
people, if you're using Peppermint Linux, then all these games will work. You know they will work because I've live streamed them and you've interacted with it. And all these apps work, all these bits and pieces work. So that's really all it's about. Just nice and easy to enjoy.
Steve, we have to help the noob a little bit. You mentioned something called Lortrus. I've never heard of that. What is that?
Well, Zebedee Boss would absolutely rip my head off because he pronounces it Lutris.
I know Lutris.
But for me, Lutris would be spelt L-O-O-T-R-I-S. It's spelt L-U-T-R-I-S. So from England, as I'm speaking the Queen's English, it's Lortrus. And he would happily rip my head off.
Queen's English. Okay.
I just had to point that out since Zeb isn't here. So.
Yeah, I thought you'd fill your boots on that one, Derek. So, yeah, it's going really, really well. I'm a very happy bunny. And yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, you mentioned the noobs are overwhelmed, too many Linux distros. We were actually talking about that at the start of the stream. How even this morning, one of the news articles I was reading mentioned that the problem with Linux is there's still too much fragmentation. There's still too many distros. And my point is, it's really our greatest strength that I can take something, even something like Peppermint. It's all free and open source software. If I want to, I can take that thing, fork it, I can rename it. I can name it Derek's OS, and you know, that's the beauty of this. But some people see that as a negative because too many of us are all working on the same thing.
Okay,
so anyone here from Bedrock? Sorry. Anyone heard about Bedrock?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen it when I was using like that distro chooser website when it got popular.
Yeah, they have best of both worlds, like package management and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you were going to say, Steve? About
I was just going to say, first of all, Alan Pope has typed in the chat, that totally isn't the Queen's English with that accent. So, Popey, this is just for you. Perhaps, Popey, one should spend Sunday afternoon trying to endeavour to attain. There you are. I hope that's enough Queen's English for you. And secondly, Derek, I would totally agree, but I would also disagree. You see, because for me, what your new distro user want is there's a distro, mate. This is what you're going to do on it. It all works. Now just leave it alone and use it.
If but we have 50 of those now, Steve. I mean,
yeah, and they're all as good as each other.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
As each other. But my argument is the problem is we don't need 50. We need one, maybe two. No. So rather than having 50, but hang on, just hear me out. Rather than having 50 distros with 50 different sets of developers all doing 50 different things, just think how cool a distro would be if those 50 developers focused on that one distro. a simple Linux desktop distro that you can play Fortnite on, that you can run Minecraft on, you can do this, you can do that, and it just works. So
here's how I see.
When the dad's kid says to him, Dad, I'm not having Windows, can you do me a Linux? What do you want to do on it, son? I want to play Fortnite and PUBG. Bang, there you go. Linux distro A does it all out of the box. Beautiful. That's
here's how I see Linux distros. I see Linux distros as like a significant other, right? So they all got their own thing that you love about them, but there's always like a red flag that you don't like. No matter what, every distro is like that until you find the one that suits you most. They want to like put a ring on or something like that.
Yeah, that's more or less
so
what
that makes.
I have a different analogy for these things. I think Linux distros are like a good dish. If there's one head chef and the people helping that head chef, you're gonna get something delicious. If there's 50 head chefs, you're gonna get a fight and it doesn't taste good.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, look, I'm not saying there shouldn't be 500 Linux distros. What I'm saying is there should be one Windows 10 Linux distro for everybody on the planet, and then all your enthusiasts, your developers, all the other branches, there's 10,000 Linux distros.
Let's take this a little further, Steve. Do you think there should only be one init system? Do you think there should only be one desktop environment? I mean, how far do we go? One package manager. No, package management gets a lot of hate as far as fragmentation.
It doesn't matter about system V and system D. It doesn't matter about the package manager. It doesn't matter about the distro base. It doesn't matter about the desktop manager. What matters is there's one mainstream Linux desktop distro for the ordinary, average, everyday, run-of-the-mill ho-hum user that does everything out of the box.
Or maybe just one car.
I have a question.
Maybe just
on
one
that.
car. Okay.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Hinky.
Question for you, Steve. What prevents us from all unanimously agreeing that everyone on the planet should use Ubuntu, nothing else? Because the answer to that is the same answer why there's so many different ones.
No, the answer to your question is you're asking the right question to the wrong people. Rather than asking a load of Linux enthusiasts, go and ask 50 people who have never heard of Linux.
Yeah, if you told me I had to use Ubuntu and nothing else, Ubuntu was the only thing offered to me, I would take Ubuntu, but then I'm still going to make it whatever I want to make it. You know, I mean, that's kind of the point. That's what we do. I fork
for me, it's a little different. If you offer me Ubuntu and only Ubuntu, I'll probably hate on Linux and never use it again. If you offer me Kubuntu and only Kubuntu, I will love it, but then the Mac user will hate it and never use it again. If you offer them elementary, they will love it, but I will hate it because it's too much like Mac. And there's no one thing fits everyone's solution, and if you want to encourage people to convert from something that works for them, you ideally need to present something that fits them more than what they already have. So I don't think a unanimous solution will ever work for everyone.
Well,
I would totally disagree with you because it's already been proven it works. Let's take Microsoft Windows 10. The world
that's more like a monopoly over everything.
That's forced on you. You don't have a
choice. It's got a monopoly for a reason.
It's got a monopoly because it got popular.
It does what it says on the tin. Like it or loathe it.
I have a theory about why Windows 10 is so successful.
If you put an OS on,
it's only successful because it forced updates on everyone.
Can't be wrong, can you? And yet every one of them hates it.
Hold up, time out. Too many people talking.
It's just the flexibility of Linux. That's the beauty of it. That's so flexible. You can brew your own.
Right. Alistair, you were wanting to get in on the Windows 10 discussion. Go ahead.
Well, the reason why Windows got so heavy is because Microsoft went to every manufacturer, Toshiba, HP, IBM, and says, you are using our OS. If you put another OS on, we'll charge you full price for you to load your OS on your systems. And so they created a monopoly out of it, you see. So that's why it's like when the netbooks came out, there was little Linux distros on these netbooks, and Microsoft squashed them by bringing out this XP whatever and told the manufacturers, you're not going to use Linux on these netbooks anymore. It killed the netbook outright, basically. In one fell swoop, it was gone overnight. So
well, you have a point. I mean, Microsoft kind of gives away. Yeah. I mean, they give away a lot of their products to especially like education and just to get it out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, it's in schools, it's in offices, and when they come home, they want to use the same system as they used in school and the same in the offices.
Now to be fair, I wouldn't call that a bad business practice. I mean, they're just.
Oh no! It was great for their business. They were the biggest tech company on the planet at one time before Apple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you did them favors. You know, but to say that Windows Desktop is popular is a misnomer because it's more used. Because I can't imagine me waking up, even on my desktop, waking up to the same GUI day in day out. That'll drive me nuts.
Microsoft Windows 10 is the most popular desktop OS on the planet. Fact. Can't argue with it.
But 95% of the people using Windows, though, they don't even consider the fact that there are alternatives. They don't even know it's out there. See, we're a different crowd. We know there's a million.
They don't really like have like the curiosity to think, is there more OSs than just Windows? Or
yeah, exactly.
They just when you go to somewhere like PC World or Best Buy, and you have a choice of 2 different operating systems. You can either have Mac OS or you can have Windows.
No, now you have 3. Chrome OS is out there on the shelves.
Oh yeah, Chrome as well. Sorry, Derek. I forgot about Chromebooks. You're right. I apologise.
And let's not forget Android.
And Chromebooks are actually growing in popularity because of that.
They're exploding in popularity, actually. Yeah,
they are.
So my response to that original statement was, I wouldn't mind 85% of Windows users coming over onto Peppermint Linux. I would love it. That's what's wrong with Linux.
I wouldn't mind it either. I'll be happy.
But they're not all going to stay there. Once they get there, they're going to start disagreeing over things. Next thing you know, you're going to have 5 different forks of Peppermint. That's just the way it goes. I mean, when you give people that freedom, they're going to exercise it.
And it's going to be forks.
That's exactly what's happened with Ubuntu. This is why there's so many Ubuntu flavors now. It's not funny. It's because they can't agree that Ubuntu's great, so they use the base of Ubuntu and they put their own spin on top of it.
So this is why you don't fork a distro that's been forked so many times. You fork a distro that doesn't get forked a lot, like Magia, that hasn't been forked yet. I want to try and fork. I want to try and be the first one to fork that.
Well, you get then some things that are. Yeah, you get forks of a fork of a fork. I mean, Farron is a fork of Mint, which is a fork of Ubuntu, which is a fork of Debian. Magia, he just mentioned, was Mandriva, which was Mandrake, which was Red Hat. I mean, you just keep going and going. Yeah. We keep forking things over and over.
I haven't seen anyone fork Slackware yet. Oh, wait, no, OpenSUSE.
Yeah. Those are 2 different cases in the sense that the first one, you're forking something that's already existing, and I think the other one is where you're basically, it's being renamed because of company closures or lack of development, and I'm not sure which one is worse, but they're 2 different problems. Just want to point out.
Right. The reason for the fork is different in Magia's case. A couple of times they had to go a different direction for legal reasons. So.
Yep.
Okay, so Derek, if I just may, I'm very keen to do this, and if you're happy to do it. Right, I would just like everybody on this live stream, one by one, to one-line answer. You have the opportunity to take that 85% of Windows users and put them on Linux. They don't have a choice. In a one-line answer, what distro are you going to put them on?
Windows.
I'll kick it off. Peppermint.
Okay, well, let's start. I'll start at the top and we'll just go around. Ubuntu, mainline Ubuntu. Climbing. Your audio is off, Climbing. You've got.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
I would say Ubuntu Mate.
Yep. Ricky, Linux for the new users. They're presented with just one choice. What do you think feels the best role for them?
Well, this is going to be a shocker. PC Linux OS.
That is a shocker, actually. Big Pod.
Mainline Ubuntu.
Thank you.
Yeah. Christopher?
I'll go Ubuntu. Ubuntu Mate.
No, that's a good choice. Jansu?
I'll go Mint.
Mint? Not a bad choice either. Alistair, I probably know where you're going to go, but...
Yeah, it's got to be PC Linux OS, hasn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does. You got two. Wow, I didn't expect 2 votes for PC Linux OS. All right.
I didn't expect 1 vote except my own.
Ray, you got a...
Yes. It's not my personal choice, but for the new user, I should say PC Linux OS. Do is complete everything.
Well, yeah, the question wasn't about what we use. I mean, I don't use Ubuntu, but that's what I would put every new user on. In fact, that's what I put all new users on when they asked me about Linux. Kiwi.
So this actually is a little bit of a long answer, but like, I feel like if we put them on a Linux distro, Microsoft will probably be like, "Oh, we're for open source," and they'll make a Linux distro to get people onto there.
Yeah.
They're slow to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft does take stuff from Linux occasionally anyway. I mean, I would say that like KDE has influenced some of their design choices over the years.
Yeah, like Azure, they're making like a Linux version of that.
Well, that's really for, that's for cloud computing. I mean, that's a server.
Yeah, but I think like they do something like that, but for like desktop users.
So do you have a distro for the new user? One distro.
Xubuntu.
Xubuntu. That's not a bad choice either. Hinky?
My answer is going to be a little bit of a complicated one, because the distro that I'm about to recommend is awful for new users. But there's a reason I'm going to mention it anyway, and I wanted to make that point earlier, so I'm going to pick that point now. The distro I pick for the new user is OpenSUSE Leap.
Oh.
And that may make no sense, because Ubuntu is easier to use for the home user. But I fundamentally believe that to get the desktop user to convert, you will have to target the business they work in. And I think OpenSUSE Leap is a better business environment because of YAST and the Active Directory integration that it has. Once you force them to work with Linux at their workplace, they are already familiar with that version of Linux, OpenSUSE, and they want to use it at home as well, because that's what they use for work. And I think that's how you convert people. Because my mother, for example, she refuses to touch any operating system. But if she's forced by her workplace to use it, she'd rather use that at home as well, because she's already familiar with it from the day-to-day use at work.
No,
so rather than going for something easy for home use, I'm actually going to go with something easy for the corporate environment, which is OpenSUSE Leap.
I think OpenSUSE is fine for the new user. I sometimes recommend it to new users. Leap, not Tumbleweed, but yeah, you're right.
OpenSUSE would also be a good idea because it has a big company behind it, so they can get like support from them too.
Right, right. In a business environment, you want to go, SUSE, Red Hat, Ubuntu. You want, something with a large corporation that offers support. Dan, you got a distro for the new user?
That's why I picked the OpenSUSE Leap. If you're watching this channel or you're one of my friends and you want to get into it for home use, I'd actually advise Kubuntu.
Dan, give us a distro.
This is kind of a little bit complicated because it really depends on what kind of hardware the person's got you're offering this to. And I've ran into this issue quite frequently. If they got really bad hardware, let's say they got less than 4 gigs of RAM and a slow processor, I would have to recommend them maybe Peppermint or Mint XFCE, something light. If they got really good hardware, I would put them on Mint Cinnamon.
Okay.
Because the Cinnamon's packed with a lot of tools. A beginner don't even know the name of the tool they're looking for. Like the USB writer in that distro, it's labeled USB writer, and it's quite up forward. You choose a ISO, and it writes it to a USB, and it's done.
Well, you make a point about the generic names in the menu. I hate that, though. I mean, I'm not a new user, but I hate when they label things text editor, file manager. Okay, what text editor am I using? Can you give me a better name?
No.
Right. But yeah, I understand for the brand new user that might make sense, but I really hate when they put all those generic names in the menu because it tells me nothing about the programs that are actually installed.
These are things I ran into when I first switched over to Linux from Windows, and it wasn't too far long ago.
No. No, thank you for the super chat, Chris, in the chat. He says Hannah Montana Linux.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's a premium distro right there.
You know what? As far as for the new user, it wasn't bad about about 9-10 years ago. So
can you even get it to run on modern hardware at this point?
Can you get Hannah Montana to run? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
On anything that's not a virtual machine, because my systems are too old for it.
A person called the Computer Clan. He ran Hannah Montana Linux on a Mac Mini.
Hannah Montana's not that old. It was like 2009. I think they based it on Kubuntu 904 or 910.
They did. It's 904, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, you can put it on modern hardware now. You can't really live in it because all those repos are no longer active. None of the, you can't update the system, so can't install it.
I'll fork it.
I have just had an email. I don't know if anybody read about the email I had the other week, but I contacted this person again yesterday and just said, "Well, how are you getting on?" Because she hadn't got back to me on if she had any problems, and she's read me a load of email, but at the bottom of it, and she's actually put, "If you're curious, I got your distro running on a complex Xeon server right now, being used as a desktop. I've been is it Arc? I'll go scroll up a bit here. Sorry, lads and ladies. It's been Arc used since 2008, and she's finally wiped it off her own machine because mine is just better. I'm really chuffed over that. She's been used as a desktop, 12 hard drives, 2 SSDs, 12 cores, 32 gig of RAM, and a load of add-on cards. Access Commando board, no problems, boots faster with and without the SSD. Being able to use Active Directory and Active Features of Arch that was not able to. It's like having a new machine. Yeah. So that was her verdict on my OS. I'm thinking that's cool.
Yeah. Now, weren't you telling me the other day? Was that you, Alistair, or was it another dev of another distro? Someone was mentioning that somebody had got back to them and like a school or some business was switching over to.
This is the same person.
That's the same. Okay.
Yeah, same person. She's putting it on a lot of business machines. Those that are disadvantaged or disabled in some way.
Awesome.
Because it's the same person. So I got back to the person because I hadn't heard nothing in a couple of weeks, and I'm thinking, I wonder if she's had problems or whatever. But apart from little niggles, and she does mention little niggles like G-party crashes when there's multiple drives. I'll have to test that actually. But cable partition works, so she got around it that way. Just like little niggles that have been sorted out, like that she sorted out. So I'll go to and from her now to see what I can do to improve that for other people. So that's all good. I've had some great feedback.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it makes a lot of sense, especially the Trinity distro you do. Makes a lot of sense on old hardware. A lot of these schools, they have such old hardware, that they're looking for something to keep these machines alive.
So I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Derek for allowing me to do that. And to me, the responses from everybody were exactly the same as sitting in an EU meeting in The Hague in Brussels. And the topic would be, gentlemen, we have now invented the first ever European army.
One question.
What colour should the buttons be on the uniform? Can you imagine that? Let alone, can you imagine this question in Brussels with a European army? Putin is invaded from the east of Europe. What are we going to do? Well, let's go and smoke a few Cubans, have a couple of cognacs, and we'll discuss it, shall we, gents? It's exactly the same problem with Linux. Everybody has got a completely different view because there's so many Linux distros, there's so many different desktops, there's so many different bases. I don't think you're ever going to have one consumer desktop Linux distro.
But there's no right answer though. Everything.
No, but there is, Derek, because that for me is why that 85% of Windows 10 users will never come over to Linux.
Do you think anybody's choice for a distro for a new user was bad of the ones that were given here? Because I thought they were all great.
I thought every single answer was a correct and factually accurate answer. Nothing wrong. You can choose Arch, you can choose Gentoo, OpenSUSE, whatever you like.
Well, nobody said Gentoo or Slackware or anything like that. So I mean,
I'm sure I did hear Sergey in the background saying, "Of course, Gentoo." But look, apart from that, no, a lot of people said
Gentoo is always the right answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Some said PC Linux, some said OpenSUSE. Absolutely fine, nothing wrong with any of them. but it's this amount of choice which leads to confusion. And the simple point I was trying to make was that's why you're never going to get the 85% of Windows 10 users over onto Linux. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's the crux as well, Steve, where a lot of people that do use computers aren't actually literate outside of Windows. So when they're coming to a Linux side of things, they're having difficulties, which is why a lot of people are scared of the command line and all that. And there are some nice GUI tools to help them along there. OpenSUSE has DIASPORA, which I think is fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah.
You never need to. Hello, Rocco. You never need to touch a command line in OpenSUSE. You don't need to touch a command line in mine either. And you don't need to do it in Ubuntu as a rule.
Yeah. No, I just really, I would have loved to have done this on Big Daddy's last show if I could have made it last night.
You're starting trouble.
Oh, hey, Rocco!
Down our choices.
Fabulous show. By the way, Rocco has just released a new Linux distro from the United States. It's called the Navy Seals Linux. At least they can get the job done.
Is it a GNOME distro?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You got it, Derek. You nailed it. Poor old Rocco sitting there squirming now, thinking, oh no, not this again. So yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to you, Derek. I'm sorry I've got family coming, so I've got to go.
Go ahead.
It was
Appreciate
great
you
to pop in and see you all. Derek, please carry on doing what you're doing, mate. Terrific content and the best of luck and much love from all us in the UK for your channel growing bigger and better every single week, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you,
thanks,
everybody.
Steve.
BD,
Well, take care, Steve. You have a great day, man.
if I can.
You have a
Much
great
love.
evening.
Take care.
All right.
Okay.
And it's just like Steve to stop in, start an argument, and then leave.
Yes, you know it. He likes to stir the pot.
Yeah. It's all good fun now.
Yeah. How you doing, Rocco?
It's great fun.
I am doing well. My system is not doing well.
What are you running?
What have you done now?
I don't know what I did. Okay, I've been running KD Neon for the last month or more, and all of a sudden, the last day or two, I can't go probably a minute or two without it freezing. To the point where, like, I can move the mouse, I can't click on anything on the desktop, anything on the panel, nothing. It just freezes.
Have you recently updated
Linux?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Neon updates pretty often.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you have any idea what it updated last?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
There should be a history in it, isn't there, for that, guess? Doesn't that keep a history of the last few updates?
Well, unfortunately, I can't stay on it long enough for it to check anything.
Fair enough.
Because I have to hit the reset button, basically.
Rocco, is it on an SSD?
It is.
I've been having problems with distros going sour on SSDs where they hold pretty well on a regular traditional hard drive.
Yeah, some people don't set up trim properly, that's why, Dan. They don't set up trim properly, so it's a good idea to use trim on SSDs. I mean, I've been running this on an SSD for 3 years and I've had no issues whatsoever.
So,
What's the proper
Rocco,
way to set up trim?
Most distributions should do that by default these days.
Most of them, it's already set for you. You shouldn't have to fool with it.
But my question to you is, what graphics card do you have, and how old is it?
And I was going to ask about the driver.
I have an NVIDIA 1080, and I was running the NVIDIA 4.10 beta drivers, but I went back to the 396 drivers, and I still have the same issue. So. Okay.
And processor?
Could it be a config with the NVIDIA driver where the 410's left a config file behind?
Possibly, I guess it could be. I'm running an i7, 7700.
All right, so it shouldn't be a problem, because with my system, it's just as stable as that until I update the kernel to something newer than Ubuntu officially supports, because my hardware is too new. In your case, NVIDIA and KDE are not best friends in that regard. NVIDIA likes to screw up things, cause crashes, animation issues, scaling issues, that kind of stuff.
Oh, Rocco knows this. Rocco doesn't
I
have
know
to be.
this very well. But like I said, I haven't had these issues for a month straight. Like, it ran perfect. rock solid for the whole month until now. Drives me insane.
I do have an idea, Rocco. If you can get booted as init 3, basically edit the grub stanza so you boot into init 3, which is the command line input. So you still have network, and then install another DE, and then go to init 5 from there, and then choose the other DE. See if that freezes up. That will eliminate KDE as KDE because you'll be using a different desktop environment. And if it freezes under init 3, then you've got bigger problems than just KDE.
Right.
Matter of fact, if you want to just install another window manager to check it out, a Fluxbox has almost no dependencies, and it kind of works out of the box.
Yeah, Fluxbox is great.
Yeah, and that way you can see in a Fluxbox session if you're still having the problems. You know, it's not KDE's problem. Fluxbox works good. You know, it's something to do with Plasma.
I don't think I've ever tried it.
Yeah. I just mentioned Fluxbox because it has a panel and all. You can log into it, and it's pretty easy to navigate. So,
if you're already running KDE, LXQT could be another option too if you want to try another desktop.
Yeah, because well, we don't know yet, Climbie, whether the KDE, the Plasma, because it uses Qt, LXQT uses a lot of the same Qt libraries as Plasma does. Right. So if there's a problem with the Qt libraries making it freeze, LXQT will suffer the same problems.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but it's very, very frustrating.
If I know you, Rocco, instead of trying to diagnose the problem and fix it, you're already planning the next hop anyway. It was time. You've been on Neon for a little bit.
I'm waiting a long time for you, Rocco.
You are psychic, because I'm running elementary Juno Beta 2 right now. So.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the big release.
Crap, I can't install Discord. Guess I'll try Ubuntu now.
There you go. See? That's the way it goes.
Doesn't have image of Discord.
Discord has a flat pack. You should be able to...
Oh, wait, it has a flat pack?
I'm pretty sure it has a flat pack, yep.
It should, and otherwise it has a snap.
Right now. Ooh.
Yep.
You can get the tar GZ from their website, and it's just a binary. You can just run the binary and move it to your user bin.
Yeah,
I've installed Discord on every distro known to man, so you should be able to get it. Some package for it. So, yeah, Discord has a snap and a flat pack according to Farron. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, just letting you know, Rocco, I changed my distro last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on my main machine, I'm running Manjaro Budgie now. I converted my machine to Arch.
Oh my.
Yeah.
No.
Can't say you run Arch, by the way. You just can't say that.
Yeah. No, don't go to the Arch forums and tell them you're running Arch.
Or the IRC channel.
Or the IR, never. Well, I wouldn't go to their IRC chat channel at all. So just stay away from there.
Been there, done that.
Not a friendly crowd there.
No.
So.
Sorry
about
for the late join, guys.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
I see you enjoyed the Hannah Montana joke there.
Yeah, that was great.
Say, I had
a little I'm doing that.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a question. I'm trying to configure desktops for my users, and I'm using Cinnamon, but I don't seem to be able to find any guides for how to configure the display manager. Let's say, for example, when you bring up the file manager, I want to have certain shortcuts there to directories that I have set up on the drive for them and stuff like that.
Yeah, so when you set the bookmarks in the file manager, it doesn't remember them for each user. So what you're...
Well, that's the thing. I want to have it set as a kind of like a scale for each user. So the first time that they log on, they'll have a folder there that they can click on and get to the common documents and stuff like that.
Have you managed to set up ones on the desktop you're using now? If you see what I mean.
Well, I'm using I just switched over to Cinnamon basically because it's most Windows-like or at least that's what I've been hearing, and
Yeah.
trying to encourage them to actually use the computer rather than bring in their own and bypassing the system entirely.
Because what I do, if I need any configs, I make a temporary user up. I set all my configs up do I want it, and then I copy that to exec scale, and so any new user has that.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
So you'll probably need to copy over
my
the config
text or
file.
anything like that. I haven't been able to figure out where I can do a global setup like that, like you can with just the command line sign in. So.
EDC profile maybe.
What was that?
EDC profile maybe.
There might be a file in the ETC that may do it. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the file manager that.
in Cinnamon, I'm not. Is it Nemo? Is it
Nemo?
I don't normally run Cinnamon, but I think it's Nemo.
Yeah, it is.
Nemo. Okay.
Yeah, it is Nemo.
Oh, well, yeah, it's Nemo.
Yeah.
So looking for us for Nemo.
Oh yeah, Farron OS in the chat makes a good point. /etc/scale must be owned by the user root. So if you're trying to do things with the standard user privilege,
no,
that's what you do. You copy it over as root. You see from.
I've been using root. So.
Okay.
I've been using my standard account to make sure all the permissions are set and stuff like that. And then
because when the new user's made, all the permissions get made as it's getting copied over to the user.
Yeah. So that's what I've been trying to do, and I was getting a little stymied on where to get the information that I needed to configure the.
Yeah, but that's what I basically do. Is I sign in as I use the nickname test, for instance, and I set up the desktop and how it looks, fields, and different things, and then I copy that as a root user to exec scale, and everybody else a new user that actually goes on has exactly the same look and feel.
Okay, I'll work on that then. Thanks.
Yeah, if anybody knows about
what I had for today. So.
Yeah, if anybody knows about this sort of thing as far as creating their own ISOs, of course, present arms. If we find Ben Fitzpatrick running around, he probably knows how to fix your problems too.
So. Yeah, so would Matthew Moore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the rest of us we're kind of noobs here. So.
Well, I mean,
I'll speak for anybody.
Yeah,
I'm a noob.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running Fedora, so it's every 9 months I'm a noob. So
yeah.
Anyway, I need to be going. I got stuff to do. I'll see you guys
All
later.
Right. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, Ricky.
See you, Rick.
Yeah, Serge in the chat mentions edit your etsy/login.defs.
Okay.
The login definitions, /etsy. Okay. Might check that out.
Yeah, that gives me a direction to go in. Thanks.
Yeah. Matt King in the chat. Let's do a vote. Is DT CIA or is DT CIA or NSA? No, I'm not. Agent 47 from the Hitman game. That's right. That's me. Yeah.
I'm going to say the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, because they're they're apparently the most basic. They're the one everybody else in the intelligence communities make fun of.
Yeah. I do have to be careful how I dress, at work or out in public. Like if I put on a nice coat and tie, everybody thinks I'm some kind of member of law enforcement, and people start eyeballing me like this shady characters. They see me and then they just move. Like I'm like, it's okay, guys. I'm not one of the. I'm just a Linux desktop user.
That's as far as you're allowed to say, at least.
That's it. You're not allowed to say anymore.
Yeah.
As long as you don't run Arch, you ain't a criminal.
I just need the barcode tattooed on the back of my head.
Yeah, replicants.
Can I say that elementary is beautiful? Can I say that?
You know what? I was going to ask you. Running the beta.
Elementary is pretty good.
You're running the beta on your main machine?
I'm running it on the main machine, but on a different hard drive.
Okay, because I was about to say, how are you living in that? Because, I mean, I checked it out, and there was hardly anything in the software center.
You got to tweak it a little bit to allow
piling everything.
There was only like 60 packages in their software center. It was,
yeah.
You know.
Well, their latest update that they just did, it was humongous. That just hit yesterday, I think it was, and it updated everything to, I don't know, I guess what will be ending up to be the final release.
Yeah.
And they've added so much stuff, including super key support. Yeah, you can change the super key to open applications menu, which I changed immediately.
Yeah, every distribution needs to have that. I mean, that's unacceptable that there's still some that don't do that.
Well, it's not there by default. You just have to go into the settings and switch it.
Yeah. Also, is Elementary also one of those distros? There's a few distros that I'm so used to Control-Alt-T bringing up a terminal. I think Elementary might be one of those that still doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
It's Super T.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And you get so used, you know, when 90% of everything else is always using Control-Alt-T, you go and hit that, and nothing happens, and then it becomes frustrating. Let me find it in the menu.
Yeah. Well, the one good thing is, by default, their super key brings up the shortcut menu.
Yeah.
So every shortcut on the desktop, basically, that they have will be in that little pop-up menu. So then you can get used to it and then switch it to the applications menu.
Well, we've got so many big releases in the next couple of months, but there's two distros that I plan on putting on my main production machine on an extra drive, but actually trying to produce content on, because I think, you know, they deserve some love on the channel. I'm going to definitely do Ubuntu 18.10 Budgie, because I like where that's going, and I'm going to check out Elementary Juno, because I really like where they're going with that. So,
well, the only problem that I have run into since last night, that's only a couple hours, but the only problem I ran into was that I was going to do the live stream on Elementary last night, but OBS would not capture the YouTube chat for Firefox. It was a black screen. So everything else was working good, but I couldn't get OBS to capture the chat. So if I can work that out, I could probably live on this full time.
Well, what you might try is a different browser to capture.
Yeah. Well, I usually use the Chromium-based browser for regular use, and then I'll use Firefox to capture the YouTube chat because it's got the dark background.
Oh, okay.
Because Chromium-based browsers, for whatever reason, like Chrome doesn't honor the dark theme in YouTube. I don't know why. At least for me, it doesn't. So Firefox does, and that's why I specifically use that. I got to check out Vivaldi or Braid to see if they would.
Right.
But before we continue, should we be concerned about Jansu? Should I mean, is he asleep, or what happened to him?
I just figure he's working on something.
Oh, I can't even see it, man.
He's concentrating seriously there.
I think this is the first time somebody actually fell asleep during one of these chats. I mean, and he fell asleep like face forward, like.
Well, he was on Biddle, so he may be tired. He went straight through.
Speaking of distro releases, I believe NixOS released their latest release, I think.
Oh yeah,
18.9.
Yeah.
What's NixOS based off of?
It's an independent distro.
It's based on nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Dude, I just saw him sleeping.
Man, I don't want to think about NixOS. I might switch to that. I don't want to think about that.
Well, if you can't install Discord,
I'm running
go
it.
to NixOS, okay?
No. If you can't install Discord, good luck installing NixOS, because it's kind of it's not your average Linux distribution. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. That there are too many samey distros. NixOS really tries to be very different.
Oh yeah, I'm just reading the little blurb on DistroWatch. Holy, I ain't gonna try that.
Yeah, I mean they do different. They do different things with the directory structure. I mean, they save stuff to directories no other Linux distro does. I mean, they really do their own unique thing with their distro.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna use a virtual machine then. Try that out.
Oh, but you know, always.
these distro releases. News has been kind of slow the past couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, the last couple of days, we get the Ubuntu betas, Haiku, which is not Linux, but it's a neat project, Antics 17.2. I downloaded the ISO, haven't looked at it. I need to. I like Antics. Magia just had a big release.
Yes.
NixOS just had a big release. And then just this morning, Calculate Linux 18 is out. And then a couple of weeks, we're going to have all the main Ubuntu flavors. And then right behind that, we're going to have Fedora 29.
And Elementary is going to come out soon.
Yeah, Elementary any day.
Yeah. Fedora 29.
Yeah.
It's like October is just Linux month,
Yeah. And I don't think Rocco has enough drives to test them all.
No, I do.
So.
I have actually, I have my list here somewhere. I posted a screenshot in the Telegram group of my partition drive. I mean, you saw it, didn't you?
All right, so I got a 120 gigabyte hard drive that is not in use.
Mm-hmm.
What OS should I put on that?
Well, if you want to do one of the recent ones that were released today, have you ever tried Antics? If you want something different, Antics is it has 6 different desktops you can try too by default installed, or 6 different window managers, lightweight, minimal So,
well, my test drive has 30 partitions on it. Has 15 partitions for distros and 15 small EFI partitions to go along with each one. So I got enough.
Wow.
Rocco, which Telegram group is it? Where you in?
Big Daddy Linux Live. So the link would be t.me/Big Daddy Linux Live.
30 partitions. Now, when you were partitioning this, if you were using something like gparted, did a pop-up come up and say, "Are you serious?"
No, but you know what? When I was trying to figure out the stuff on Neon, when it was going wrong, I tried to uninstall the NVIDIA drive or something. I was trying to uninstall something, and it comes up with like a list of 40, 50 different things it wanted to uninstall, and it says, and I never seen it before. It says something to the effect of, in the terminal, it says, "You're about to break the system. If you do, and so in order to continue, you must type, 'Yes, I am sure.'" Yeah. I never seen that message in my life.
I've always wondered about these partition names too. SDA, SDB, SDC. I was like, what happens when you run through the alphabet? But I was like, nobody will ever get through 26 letters. But Rocco made it to 30.
Sure about that?
I actually go to servers. ZD.
This is all
like
SDE.
SDAA, or what would it do?
Actually, can you hear me?
Well, it could roll over to SDDAA.
Actually, Linux has 26 drive limit, and no more than 26 drives can be connected to Linux, as far as I'm aware.
Really? I think that's on
No,
Windows.
you can. You can connect far more than 26.
Yeah, and servers.
That's
often.
server.
Yeah.
Windows.
I know we were saving some data, and we had 32 drives, and it didn't want to get data off because it was more than 26, and it wasn't the program, because when we were talking with the guys who made it, they said that it is the problem with Linux normally only having 26 drive spaces for so drives work. But I don't know. That's what they said to us. So
SDI through to Z.
They sent us some patched version of Linux. They quickly put up, so it did allow more than 26.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. You can definitely have more than 26 drives. Many Linux servers have far more drives than that. Server racks, get as many drives as you can buy. So, Alan Pope in the chat mentions, yeah, that's definitely not true. The 26 drives. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the problem there was, Big Pod.
I have seen a server with 60 drives. So,
yeah, there is a server named Storinator or something like
that.
Storinator. It gets 60, up to 60 drives, up to 720 terabytes or something like that.
I mean, if you go with the old RAMAC days, I mean, we used to have 60, 80 drives, but they were all grouped into volumes too. So, I mean, that was on the IBM mainframe. and that that would see each volume as a separate drive. It wouldn't see the individual drives.
Yeah, now Alan Pope mentions there's no limit on the number of drives. It can go all the way up to /dev/SD capital ZZZZ with 29 Z's. So that's infinite. That's an infinite number of drives you can. You cannot buy that many drives.
I want to get like a bunch of like IDE like 2 GB drives. Get a bunch of them. Just see how much I can go.
Raid them.
Run them all on like RAID or something.
Yeah, run them all RAID.
You would almost need some kind of Raspberry Pi USB device that just emulates thousands of them at once.
Yeah.
Your individual packet sizes would be unwieldy at that point.
What I could probably do is go into a virtual machine, make about like a 100 or 200 gigabyte partition just for that virtual machine, and then install like Ubuntu or some minimal install, and then just put like a bunch of partitions there. Oh wait, no, that
you can literally just add a lot of virtual drives. I'm just curious what breaks at that point, the virtual machine or the Linux system itself.
Crap, this
you would have to have a big enough root partition to host the OS on one of the drives, though, and make tiny little ones for everything else. See what happens.
Yeah. Man, this whole stream's giving me free ideas.
On that, so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this really took a turn here. I mean, we're really into nerd territory right now, talking about how many drives we can get.
These are the unsolved questions that need to be solved. Come on.
Yeah. Then they use MDIM to write them in a virtual machine.
Yeah. And the exact number for how many drives you can put in Linux, Alan Pope put it in the chat if you guys want to. It's 26 to the power of 29. So... Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of drives.
I wonder if someone like Google even has that many in total.
Oh, absolutely. I bet they... Well, maybe not that many, but...
Not on one system.
Yeah.
I bet like the first one to file a complaint it's not enough is like the supercomputer from the NSA or anything like that.
I bet Google has more computing power than the NSA. I mean,
probably not, but
so it's like half a Google of drives that you can have, basically.
They've taken a bunch of Beowulfs and just put them in, like 15 Beowulf systems and just put them in racks in a giant room, and that's basically what they have.
See, that's the one thing about us nerds. We come up with the best names. I love Beowulf Cluster. I mean, that's just like the greatest name ever. Beowulf.
We have the best names. We also have the most confusing names, like Gnome or Gnome, XFCE or Xface, that kind of stuff. Really,
it's not that confusing. It's GNOME. Everybody knows it's GNOME.
I know
it's GNOME.
How do you pronounce
There's this one guy on YouTube, and instead of saying Debian, he says Debian. It just, it gets me.
Not everybody uses GNOME.
It salts my apples. That's what happens.
Yeah, some YouTubers tend to use GNOME.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the GNOME devs, the devs don't really care anymore if you ask them. Yeah, it started out life as GNOME, but they really don't care how you pronounce it anymore as long as you use their desktop.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's like the Mate and main thing.
Calls, whatever you want.
Yeah.
The best ones are still distribution names like Beefy Miracle and Bionic Beaver and stuff like that.
Yeah, but those were great.
Yeah, I got to check out that Magia. There.
Yeah.
Magia is quite cool. If you like Magia, you'd love Mindbreaker, I would tell you.
Yeah, actually, that's right up your alley, Magia, because it's Plasma. They're using 5.12 though. It's not the latest Plasma. It's a stable distro. It's not Neon.
Well, I had run it a long time ago, but I haven't tried it in a couple years.
I'd say the package management is kind of like in between like Debian stable and Debian testing.
Yeah.
Like you got some up-to-date stuff, but some not. It's like
yeah, it's just how they update their stuff.
What?
There's still some stuff in my repo that goes back to like 2013, and it's because it probably hasn't been updated since then, but it's stable and it doesn't break, and there's no security issues, so no need to change it.
And Magia, I mean, their packages are not old. I mean, they're using the same stuff that Ubuntu 18.04 is on. I mean, Kubuntu's still on 5.12 and kernel 4.14. That's all what Magia is still on. So
it's an LTS kernel, the 14.73. So 14.72 now, I believe, the latest LTS.
They're still using LibreOffice 5.3.7, so they're not even on.
Actually, Derek, when I saw your video, they were still using on 5.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me too.
5.3 or something. I'd have to have a look.
Yeah. And they're using one of the ESR Firefoxes. They're using the extended support release Firefox, which is fine, I guess.
But that is a later version of the ESR.
Yeah, it is. It's the latest one.
5.2 or something.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm using 4.18. So.
3.6 gigabytes for download.
Yeah, it's hefty.
I'd go with the live. I'd go with the live DVD if you know what desktop environment you want.
Yes, LibreOffice is on 6.1.2 according to my package manager.
Now, Rocco, Magia does have 3 different editions. They have Plasma, GNOME, and XFCE. So I know you're a big GNOME fan, so you're probably gonna pick that one. But.
And see, Magia, it gives me like this weird, like cozy, like feeling, like Linux Mint gave me when I first got into Linux. So that's kind of like why I like really enjoy this one.
Yeah. Well, people tend to stick with what they know, what they're comfortable with.
Dude, I'm like the complete opposite. I love the kind of stuff that I have no idea what it is. I just go in blind.
Present Arms, he installed PC Linux OS back in the early 2000s, and 15 years later, he's still running the same distro. I mean, that's kind of what we do. You always keep coming back to what you know.
Administration.
Yeah, when I first started, it was on KDE 3, then you went through the 4 and 5 iterations. Of course, it has the other desktops as well. And back 3 years ago, I learned about Trinity, the spin-off of KDE 3. And I went into the forum one day, said, I'm making a respin for you, I'll do the Trinity desktop. And it's become popular since then. So I've kept doing it.
I've never used the Trinity desktop.
It's not bad.
If you remember KDE 3, you'll...
Yeah, it's the same, yeah.
Yeah, I've never used KDE.
It's all updated.
I got into Linux.
There are small differences between KDE 3. I still have KDE 3 PC Linux OS in VMware.
I mean, you do have to realize KDE 3 was 10 years ago, so...
Yeah,
I only got into Linux last year, so I have no idea what that was like.
You'll be surprised how much functionality Trinity has, even against things like Plasma. A lot of the stuff is still there, going back from KDE 3 that's in Plasma today. Like the right-click menu, you can change the right-click menu so it works like OpenBox and so on and so forth. Do away with the taskbar or that kind of business.
If it wasn't for KDE 3, I wouldn't be in Linux right now, because that's what drew me to Linux, was being so customizable in KDE.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No joke. Tux got me into doing Linux. I just like the logo.
The logo? A lot of people do that.
That's legitimately my reason.
I saw somebody on a website one time, a new user, he was trying to figure out his brand new Gentoo install. And people were like, dude, you're just coming to Linux. Why are you installing Gentoo? He liked the logo. Said, there's 100 different distros on DistroWatch. He said, I really like the Gentoo logo, so that's why. Like, oh, okay.
Same. I was thinking about
sounds
doing
like
that
someone.
But then I realized people were saying, "Oh, that's like a really advanced distro." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
But he makes a point with the Penguin. Branding matters.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Everybody knows.
Well, it still sounds like someone trying to bet on a team because they like the color of the jerseys.
Dude, I'd probably I'd win that bet.
Yeah. Yeah, Serge in the chat says there's people that have been running Slackware for more than 20 years. Yeah, but the Slackware crowd, they're a different kind of crowd than the rest of us.
Yeah.
When you go to Slackware, like when you go to their website, it's like something out of the mid-90s. You can tell this is going to be different.
Slackware is old enough to see everything happen.
Right learning distro.
Yeah.
It's old enough to see everything happen, but it's also too old to where it's like, well, it kind of looks like you're going back into like the late 90s with this, so...
Yeah, but nobody says that about Debian. You know, Debian is only 1 month younger than Slackware. Debian started like 1 month behind Slackware.
True, but like that's keeping up to date a little bit. like with its looks.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot more Debian developers than Slackware developers. I
think Slackware isn't really that behind time. You got Slackware current. You get a lot of new packages and so on there.
Yeah.
But the way they do their package management and so on is still old school, but you can. There are, as Serge and Derek knows, because I've done this on before, there's different package managers you can use on Slackware to sort out dependencies and so on.
Right. They have what they call Slackware Current now that you can get fresh packages on. You don't have to, use the older packages.
That's right. Yeah, it's as Serge just said in the chat, it's a rolling release, the current version there.
Well, guys, I'm gonna kill the stream here in about 5 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is let's go ahead and get a last word in, because I do have to be moving on to work. Unfortunately, I have to go to my job today on a Sunday. It's unfortunate.
On a Sunday, dude.
Yes, it's unusual. I usually don't have to work on Sundays, but I do this week.
But
but it's the good thing is
gotta
normally
do what they gotta do.
The NSA works on Sundays?
I know how that rotates.
The NSA works 365, 24/7. Rocco, you know that. Let's get a last word from everybody. Climby, last word, sir.
Just want to once again congratulate you on the 1 year for the channel.
All right.
I will say this channel is what got me back into Linux after a number of years. So I really love the distro reviews, and it's also helped me get into learn more about the YouTube Linux community, and I've met a lot of people through the community, and I absolutely love it, and love these chats, and I look forward to the next one.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, and the community on YouTube is great. I've been surprised by the community around Linux and on YouTube. So, Big Pod, last word.
Today I'm lost for words.
No words. All right, Christopher, last word, sir.
Well, thanks for the stream. Happy birthday to the channel. I'd also like to say happy Thanksgiving for people in Canada,
that's
happy Columbus Day for anybody south of the border. I'd just like to say I was happy to get a word in too about NixOS.
Yeah.
I've been trying that for 2 weeks now, but things got in the way. And hope. Also remember to like the channel. I see we've got 48. There are 2 unpleasant people who've decided, nope, we need to push those thumbs up, people.
Yeah. But one of those thumbs down was me, because if everybody thumbs up, it looks like it's rigged. So I always like to throw a thumbs down. So.
Wow.
Jansu, last words. Hold up, guys. We need to give Jansu his last word.
Jansu?
Actually, I have an idea for that one. Using my new Pulse audio setup. One moment.
Wait, he's waking up. That almost woke him up. He moved a little bit.
Yes, there he is. Coming back to life.
Good stuff.
Oh, he's about to fall out of the chair, actually.
You need to teach me that. Oh, wait.
I can try it again if need be.
Oh, he's up. He's up.
Oh, he's alive.
Morning.
All right, Alistair, you got a last word.
Yeah, happy birthday, Derek, for the stream. Hope there's many more years to come. I really do. I love it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, been a learning experience. All right, Ray, last words.
Yes, thank you for having me here. Congratulations with your birthday here, and I hope more movies and streams are coming. It's my first time here, and I want to join many more times. I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Yeah, come back and see us again. All right, Kiwi, last word, sir.
This has been all good. I plan on making a nice little video about Ubuntu 4.10 to 18.04. Hopefully that actually works.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. If you're going to do all the interim releases from 4.10 to everything along the way, man, that's going to be like what, 30 upgrades?
Yeah, it'll take a long time, but it'll work.
Yeah. You got to make sure your internet connection is solid, though. So.
Yeah, it ain't solid. I got to use my phone. My YouTube is Linux over Windows, and you got to like subscribe to this dude.
Right. Well,
that doesn't say a lot because if you're watching this stream, you already probably subscribed. But you know what? I can probably help.
Well, come back and see us next weekend, Kiwi, if you get the upgrade. If not, we'll see you the following week. So.
Yeah. Hey,
Hinky,
I got Columbus Day.
Yeah, Columbus Day, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving. I'm glad Christopher reminded me about that. I forgot. Our Canadian, our friends to the north. So. Hinky, last word, sir.
So as my last words, I'd like to make a public announcement on stream as promised last week and the weeks before.
Please
as you guys know, I've been working on a Pulse audio config that can make things a little bit easier for creators or do the alarm effect sound over Zoom if need be, as I just demonstrated. You guys can find that one. It's now publicly out on gitlab.com/hank717. That is gitlab.com/hank717. It's a config. I linked to the dependencies there. There's a little instruction how to set it up and some example use cases that you could use it for.
Yeah, Hinky, if you want, post it in the chat.
I'm going to post that one in the chat. And it would be cool if you experimented with DT, because it might work for this stream as well.
Yeah. So if you do a link in the Zoom chat, I'll post it in the YouTube chat for everybody. All right, Dan, last word, sir.
DT, happy 1 year anniversary. I started watching your stream when you were about the 6-month mark. I've watched it grow and turn into something really great. As for all the distros we have out there, I feel that we need them. Even though people disagree, their choices, their freedom. You have the freedom to choose other people's work, and that's what it makes it different from all the other operating systems. So with that said, well, make what you can of the Sunday, and DT, I hope you don't have to work too hard.
No, I never do. They're not going to get much out of me today. The NSA takes it easy on Sunday. So. Wait, and hooray freedom. So.
Right?
Rocco.
Well, DT, I remember sending out a tweet last year saying I had found your channel, and I said, let's get this guy over 1,000 subscribers because you were like right at 990 some. And now you're over 15,000, dude.
I remember that. That was when YouTube would change their monetization rules. Right,
yep.
Right around there. Yep.
So you've done some awesome work.
Yep.
So happy birthday, man.
All right. Appreciate you, Rocco. Appreciate everything you do for the community, too. You guys, I'm sure everybody here in the video chat knows, but the YouTube chat, check out Big Daddy Linux Live every Saturday night. Rocco does an awesome job. He is one of the driving forces behind this awesome YouTube Linux community we have. If it wasn't for Rocco, a lot of this would not be possible. So
that's not true. That's fake news. But anyway, go ahead.
No, that one's not fake news. Chris, last word, sir.
Just happy birthday to the channel, and I'm glad that I stumbled onto this one day through the suggested feeds, and I've been getting hooked more slowly. Let's see, I'm starting to pick up followers. I don't know if it's from here or from the other groups I'm starting to follow or what, but I think one of the things I'm going to put my channel in the direction of is kind of a vlog of my my certifications, getting my LPIC certifications and stuff like that.
Awesome.
See if I can help out people that way. And,
yeah, that'd be great.
Other than that, have a good day, people. You know, it's sunny here in Connecticut. You go out there and enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
All right.
But kind of cold.
All right. Silent Robot, you got anything to say? I don't know if his
I think he's down, actually.
Yeah, he was having some issues. Yeah. So Silent Robot's last word was happy Thanksgiving, Canada. So, all right. And of course, let me get my last word in here. The show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, David, Leor, and Rob. Also brought to you by all those fine ladies and gentlemen. You see their names on the screen. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel. You'll find me over on Patreon. All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Oh, Salmon, what's the host now? Hell yeah.
All right.
Now it's
All right, so I'm gonna do another attempt at waking up.